Hello to you. Today I'm looking at the recent movie Grown Ups, starring the usually funny Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Chris Rock, David Spade, Rob Schneider, and then also with some side supporting characters of Salma Hayek, Maya Rudolph, and randomly Steve Buscemi, who you had no idea who was in this movie, but lo and behold, there he is. So let me get right into kind of the plot of this movie. So Adam, Kevin, James, Chris, David, and Rob, those five guys, were like really best friends when they were younger. They were on a basketball team together, and they loved their coach. So jump like 30 years later, when they're grown-ups, their coach dies, and they all kind of come together to for the funeral, and then they spend a weekend at the lake cabin that they used to stay at when they were younger. And then, by this point you learn kind of a little bit about their lives. Like Adam Sandler, he's like a big-time producer in Hollywood. His wife's like, his wife is Salma Hayek, and she's a fashion designer, and their kids are really spoiled. Kevin James, well, you find out, he's not as successful as he, makes it out to be. Chris Rock's pretty much like a man-woman. David Spade is like a grown-up loser who, is a womanizer and gets drunk all the time. And Rob Schneider plays a weird guy who is in love with old woman. It's kind of gross. So here at this at the camp, they kind of start to. So at the lake house, they they finally kind of start to get back into their roots of how it used to be back in the young days, and their kids kind of start to come out of their shell, and they all kind of start to understand what it was like to be young, back before video games and internet and cell phones and all that stuff. So it's a heartwarming comedy. Sorry, let me say this. It's a heartwarming comedy. I think I chuckled once. And if you've seen the movie, it's the part where there's that really buff guy at the water park, and he comes over and talks to the girls, and he is from Canada and has a really, really high voice. That part made me chuckle. The rest of the time, I just kind of watched the movie and was like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. Oh, they're making fun of each other. So I don't know. I mean, maybe if some of you guys have seen it, maybe if you watched it with like some friends, and then it was cute because you were with your buddies, or just having other people around to help laugh and stuff made it better. But for me, I found it kind of boring. It was a cute movie, but I'm never gonna watch it again. And it's really sad because I find these people pretty funny. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not a real big fan of Adam Sandler, which I know, some people might find that offensive or whatever, because Adam Sandler's like, comedy legend or whatever. But I don't find him that funny. I found him funny on Saturday Night Live, some of his stuff, some of his characters, but not really his movies. Kevin James is hilarious. I love King of Queens. I even kind of like Paul Blart. Kinda, I like that. I thought that movie was funnier than this movie, actually. So he was pretty funny. Chris Rock, I think, is a funny comedian, and he was funny on Saturday Night Live, but I think he's a terrible actor. So, and that kind of comes through here. David Spade and Rob Schneider. Here's the thing about those two. I guess they were funny back in their prime. And it was one of those, like, you could tell that they haven't really been funny in a long time. Those two felt like, at least Adam, Kevin, and Chris, they're successful. Whereas David and Rob, like, I felt like they were, like, riding the coattails of, like, hey, you guys used to be my best friends, and now you're really famous, and we kind of fell to the wayside and are kind of losers. But, hey, let's be in a movie with you, and let's get kind of famous again. But it didn't really work, because they weren't that funny, and they just kind of looked sad, and their characters were kind of pathetic too, so made more by the fact that the actors themselves were just kind of like, eh. And Maya Rudolph, I'm sorry, she's weird looking. Like, every time she comes on screen, I'm just like, eesh, you're weird. Steve Buscemi's white. So all in all, I pretty much give a pass on this movie. I wouldn't really suggest watching it. You know, I probably would have turned it off about halfway through just out of boredom. You know, I probably would have just rather gone to bed instead of watching it. But that's my dedication to you guys, because, you know, what kind of video online movie talker guy would I be if I stopped watching a movie halfway through? So you're welcome. As payback for that, I think if you haven't subscribed yet, you should subscribe. So just go on YouTube and do a little clicky there. Also, just, you know what? I see my videos, they get like 10 views. So that's 10 people that can write down what movie you want me to watch. So, I mean, it takes like 2 seconds. Watch, like, let's say you want me to watch, oh, I don't know, Lady in the Water, which was a terrible movie, so please don't ever ask me to do that. And I probably will just fake that I've watched it because I've already watched it and just tell you about it, but I'm not really going to watch it. But, for example, you would click, bloop, comment, Lady in the Water, send. That took like 2 seconds. So, you know, I mean, unless you're still on dial-up, it should be like 2 seconds. If you are still on dial-up and you've made it this far along in the video, you're awesome, because that's commitment to watching me. But I don't think, unless these videos have the ability to go back into time, I don't think anyone's on dial-up. Well, that'd be crazy if I could, like, leave a video to myself, you know, to the past. I think if I could, I would probably send a video to myself in the past, and it would probably say something along the lines of like, "Hello, past Jeremy. This is future Jeremy. How are you? I'm well. Cool. Oh, hey, by the way, eventually there's going to be this movie called Grown Ups, which stars some really funny people, and you're going to be really tempted to watch it and think it's funny. Just pass on it." Ah, if only that were true. Thanks, future Jeremy. That was weird. Well, this is awkward. Bye.